So I had a question from a student about this problem from your MyLab example problems or homework problems from section 9.2. So I just wanted to go over this. Some of you may have the same questions. So the first thing I would look at here is that the question is asking me to combine like terms. So in terms of variables, like terms have to include the same variable. So for example, here I have 7/3 A and I have 2/3 A. So those two terms both include the same variable. They're multiplied by the same variable. So I would consider them like terms. In the same vein, here 5/6 times B and 1/4 times B, I would consider them to be like terms. Now, terms without a variable, such as 17 down here, are in another category. So I don't see any other number by itself. So that's going to be its own term. And as you see down here in the answers, we've got just the 17 at the end. So we don't even have to think about the 17 right now. So we'll just get rid of thinking about the 17. What we're going to think about is combining the A terms and the B terms. So I'm going to group them together. Now, this is called the associative property. So we can associate different variables together. We can also move them around, but we can't switch the order because we've got subtraction involved here. So we're subtracting this 2/3 A, and we're also subtracting this 1/4 B. So we can't change the order, but we can group the A's together and group the B's together. So I'm going to rewrite my expression down here so that I have 7/3 times A minus 2/3 times A. And I'm going to solve that and simplify that. And then I'm also going to simplify 5/6 B minus 1/4 B. Let's take care of the A's first because they have like denominators. And because they have the same denominators, we can just go ahead and add them together. So when we add like terms, we are just going to add or subtract the numbers. So basically here we're going to subtract 7/3 minus 2/3. And then we also have the A involved. So 7/3, when we subtract fractions, we're going to subtract the numerator, the top number. And here, let me put this back with the A. So we're going to subtract the 7 minus the 2. So we're going to end up with 5, and we still have thirds. Okay, and A. So our first combined term is going to be 5/3 A. And we can see here that 3 of our answers give us 5/3 A. So we can eliminate answer number A. Now we can go on to talk about the B terms. This is a little bit more complicated because we don't have the same denominator. So we have to do a little review of how to find common denominators. So finding common denominators means that we need to have the same number on the bottom. So in this case, we need to find a common multiple of 6 and 4. So let's think about 6 and 4, numbers that multiply times 6. So we can have 1 times 6, 2 times 6, 3 times 6, 4 times 6. So that's 6, 12, 18, and 24. We can also do the same thing for 4. We can have 4, 8, 12, and 16. And what we see here is that we have a common multiple. Both of these numbers are factors of 12. So we're going to use 12 because it's the smallest number. We could keep going and find others, honestly. But we're going to use 12 as our common denominator. So instead of sixths, we're going to have twelfths. B minus twelfths. B. Now, how do we change sixths into twelfths? So if we want to change sixths into twelfths, we multiply the denominator by 2. That's what we see here. So we want to have an equivalent fraction, so we also want to multiply the numerator by 2. So we end up with 10 twelfths. So 10 twelfths instead of 5 sixths. We want to do the same thing for our fourths. So instead of 1/4, we want to have some number of twelfths. To get from 4 to 12, we multiply by 3. So we want to have an equivalent fraction, so we want to multiply the same number by the numerator. And so we end up with 3 twelfths. Now that we've got common denominators, we can just do our subtraction the same way as we did with our a variables. So here we're going to subtract the numerators. So instead of 10 twelfths minus 3 twelfths, we're going to say 10 minus 3 is 7. Keep the 12. Don't change the 12. And then our variable is b. So that's going to be our second variable. And as we can see here, letter D is going to be our correct answer. If you have any questions, any more questions about fraction operations, this is a tricky one, or about combining like terms, please send me a message and I'd be happy to go over this with you.